Hello, I hope you're having an awesome day. Today, we're going to be jumping into the Shadow Cave to see if it's any good, give it a rating, and hopefully they haven't ruined this cave for PvP. If they have, oh well, I guess, right? So the first thing we're going to notice is, I guess we should tell you where the Shadow Cave is. Alright, so if we open our map, the Shadow Cave is here, in this little water area where I'm standing. Of course, this is going to say 5566, whether that's accurate or not, it's hard to say. I know in my previous videos, everybody says that these coordinates aren't accurate, and the same thing with tribe mates. We can never use either of the maps, and everybody always has different coordinates somehow. Okay, but just to give you an idea, it's near here, so you can see between 50 and 60, between 70 and 60 here as well in this quadrant. All right, if we pull up this map, it'll tell us we're at 54.9, 66.2, whether that's accurate or not, again, hard to say. All right, in that direction is where most people put their Reaper traps. So just kind of give you an idea, there's a charge node over there. That helps. Right where the entrance is, it's underwater. Okay, so you'll see this here with a Ravager zipline type thing there. You can climb around if you're on a Ravager. You can probably hook to it as a player as well. And then this is the key feature sticking up out of the water right here. Right next to the hole, you have two of these little rocks sticking up out of the water. Alright, now, so defending this entrance here on the outside is a little bit tough because people can just drive a boat up and blow up whatever you have out here defending. You can technically build cliff platforms on these, or even maybe, yes, you can build cliff platforms on these and put defenses on them, and then of course they can blow them up with a boat. But you know, the point of these defenses is really just to let you know someone's at your base. They can technically just drive a boat over and drop under the boat and go into the water without ever triggering your defenses. So make sure you're putting water mines and stuff in the water here. You could also build something right here, a base or something on the ground here to shoot down into the water. Alright, so as we head down into the hole, if you are to put turrets, once you're down here a little bit in along the walls, right, you can just put a few here to shoot them this way. If they come off a boat or ever swim down, they'll get shot by turrets. This way and put plenty of spam in here. All right, you can also use tech vacuum chambers to block this off and whatever else you want. Plenty of spam just so that they have to put a lot of stuff in your tribe log so you'll notice them breaking in. Especially if you're running a Discord bot that alerts you when it sees tribe log damage. All right, and as we go down, okay, we still got the hook here. So it's kind of like a sink, right? You go down, come through this little hook, and then you go back up, and we come into an air pocket. Right now, in ASE, if you're in here with a Paracer, you can stick its head through this wall here, and it can get oxygen. So you could refill your oxygen underwater. So as we pop out of the water, notice we're in a little dead end hole here. Alright, it goes pretty far back. Alright, so as we stand at the far back spot, which is where you can get to, oftentimes turrets won't be firing back here depending on where they set them up. You definitely want to set your turrets up so they're firing back here, but as you can see, it's already a pretty long distance. So by letting them fire back here, you're also putting them in range of people being able to poke their head up and shoot with tech weapons. So you got to be careful about that. But now we don't have to attach turrets to structures to get them, so it'll be a little bit easier, especially if you're just using heavies, just to shoot people that are back here. All right, the problem is, these greatly weaken this area. This allows people to LLS turrets from back here, so you'll have to strategically place your turrets. Right, and so as we were saying, you can bring a Paracer in here with a platform on its back. Right, you can pop up here and shoot cannons, shoot tech weapons off of it, soak, whatever. So you don't want to be caught offline because a Paracer can definitely get players in here a lot easier. But this area is going to be a lot stronger now that we don't have to create cliff platform chandeliers and stuff like that. We can just put turrets on the cave walls. So this still seems about the same, which is good because this is a really strong part you can hold even though it's a large entrance. And if you drop down there at this kind of a largest area, you can get you can fill that full of Spinos or whatever to munch on anything that they try and send over. You will want to put your turrets and everything back over here, kind of floating out here, not against the wall. And you definitely won't want to put anything where they can stand along in here. You may want to put a cliff platform like over here, so you can swing around the edge and fight them. Then you can come back over and hide from them and restock your gear and uncorral stuff. But you want to be careful about extending this out, because this is one of your defenses right here. You want them to just have to drop down when they come over and have stuff down there to eat them when they try that. Because you have cliff platforms setting out here, expanding out that direction, they'll be able to walk out onto them and fight your turrets that are up here a lot easier than if they just were to fall down. And of course, you want to make sure you have turrets low enough to shoot them while they're in here as well. So this takes a little bit of trickery to build. So when setting turrets and stuff up in here, just remember the turret range and make sure you measure it out, make sure it hits stuff. If you absolutely have to, you can place a turret somewhere, unclaim a dinosaur where you want that turret to hit, make sure it can hit that spot, and then reclaim your dinosaur if you're unable to accurately measure distance. Because you're building up in the air, up in there, you know, your turrets aren't firing necessarily straight, they're at an angle, so it may be hard to measure that angle distance. And it'll be easy, you know, so you just unclaim something, reclaim it. Easy enough. All right, let's move on. We're going to jump down in here. Whoa, swimming for a second. That's interesting. Swimming in the air. All right, so we'll drop down in here and let's go see if the real entrance, the part that's the best to hold. You want to hold this as long as possible and as best as possible, because once they get in here and break in, you can build a fob here and they can live inside your cave, right? They can block you from getting out of your cave. I mean, you can still teleport and stuff like that, but they can basically set up in here and then block you from coming down that direction, getting in this way from attacking the other side. You'll have to then fight to get them out and fight from this direction to get them out. And it is a pain to get someone out of here once they've set up their own base and they start living in here and teleporting down in here, fighting you, and they just live in front of your base. We did that to a tribe trying to get them out of here. So just know that is the strategy for raiding this base. You get in here, destroy everything in this area, set up your own base, and hold this, and basically live here while you push through. Now, if the crouch point here has been changed, you may not have to live here for a long time to get them out. Because getting through this crouch point is the difficult part. So we'll head down this hallway. And you can kind of put some turrets along this hallway and stuff. As you see, there's not really a long distance. You can't get the maximum range of your turrets in this hallway. Maybe right here against that wall. Yeah, well, maybe. But there's still lots of places where players can jump over to the left and right, hide, and change armor. So this isn't a great section to hold. And then, oh, this is definitely bigger. It's not so much bigger though. This will still be pretty strong. This is still smaller than the Pearl Cave entrance, and probably better than the Ice Cave entrance. So this is probably still going to be the strongest cave currently. With this choke point here, it's not as strong as it used to be. You had to really get down and like really crawl under the spot and just get hammered by turrets. Now you'll be able to run at maximum speed around the corner here. So you'll be able to be over here. I come around maximum speed. And then, yeah, if this is your base, you're going to want to have all this cleared out and spammed out, so there's nothing here for them to use to LOS turrets. The problem is if you run to the left, you come over here, you can get behind this. So you'll need to make sure you have turrets over to the left as well, shooting back this direction. As far as the Shadow Cave goes, this is a spot you want to really hold on to, so you're going to need your turrets lined up with that entranceway there. Firing in there, so you're going to make sure you measure out correctly and come out here and place them as far back as you can so that they're out of tech weapon range. I'll go in here, and you'd want them definitely hitting this back wall. So you would start your measurement here and work your way out, and then they would probably have to be on cliff platform or chandeliers or something out here to work correctly, but that's also a weakness. But if you can get your chandelier anchored up here and then lower your double door frames to put the turrets on down here, it'll be less weak. But again, if they can get in and start hitting it with tech weapons, they can destroy your structures. So then you'll definitely want to have forward turrets as well along up on the walls and the ceilings here to shoot into there. At that point, distance doesn't matter, right? Because heavies can't be damaged by tech weapons. But your tech turrets could be, so you want to be careful about where you place your tech turrets. So you can put a few around in range of their tech weapons, but then I would put more of them kind of back over here where they can't hit it with a tech weapon, but as soon as they come around that corner trying to rush in, it'll kind of bounce them back. But yeah, an army of players, 6 to 10 players running through here with riot shields could push their way through and block the turrets. Depending on how many structures and how far out they clear out the structures, they could possibly uncryo a dino. To uncryo a dino, it doesn't matter how close you are to enemy structures. All you need is a cryo fridge that's like 11 foundations away. So they could get a cryo fridge power to back up in here, right? And come running around the corner and throw out stegos out here. So keep that in mind as well. I have several videos covering the new cryopod settings and how to use them up close to the enemy bases, if you want to see those videos as well. Alright, so you see this cave is really cool looking. The biggest issue with this building in this cave are going to be the nameless spawns. You're going to want light plants everywhere, and your players, your tribe members, are going to need to wear a light pet everywhere they go. Now this is a very large, neat looking room, right, with lots of water in it, and as you come through here, now this is the second or third stop you're going to have for players coming to your base, and you can have even more as we go through here to show you where else you can hold them off. This is such a large area, especially right over this water, right? You put foundations down at the bottom, pillars or whatever, and get a nice little foundation going. And you can build out a bunch of floors in here, which allows you to do vertical raising of dinosaurs, which is really, really helpful, unless you raise lots of dinosaurs at once, just off of a few troughs. So this is a great room for us. Once you make sure you're building out below your defenses, of course. Don't LOS your defenses, right? Go down here and build below your defenses. And you can get some nice breeding areas going on in here. If you come under assault, you can just have someone come pick up all your breeders and move them somewhere else. Alright, so as we go down further into the cave, we'll go through this hole here, and then we'll go through another kind of like sink type drain pipe thing here. So we'll go down to the water. Alright, so you'll swim through the water area here to get to the next section of the cave. Alright, this is the Shadow Artifact Cave, so there will be an artifact at the end of this cave. Alright, you come through this little, you see this is kind of a small block here. It's not too bad up and down, but wide-wise, so you're probably not going to be able to get a Mosa through here, right? If you were uncrowing a Mosa for attacking this spot. You can probably still get a Bassi through here. And then you can come up here, and there's another water exit, which you will want to block off with turrets. Alright, so as you can see, you can hang out back here. You might even be able to get a foundation with some stuff on it here, like a triangle foundation or something. And then you can move, and then maybe a cryo fridge and some generator on it if you're attacking. And then you can, but if you're defending, you want to have turrets firing back up into here. Of course, if they've taken over this part, they can also uncryo stegos and stuff back here and swim them through. This should be wide enough to let a stego through. Alright, so you need to be careful with your turret placement if you're putting them on structures. You may just want to hang a couple of turrets, you may just want to put them on the ground or something, just a few to fire back up in there, just to be hitting them as they're coming out. Right, and then you really put your defenses where they can, the maximum range they can fire is about here, so that you can really destroy anybody that's coming out of here. And so then you can hold your enemies right here. You can fight them with Reapers and everything else, Basilisks, and just hammer them and don't let them out. Right, you have plenty of places to build a decent defense over here, and places to set turrets so they're not necessarily on structures. You may still want to build a wall to get concentrated fire. The thing about turrets is if they're not lined up exactly, right, you can soak one at a time instead of all at once. And you may think that's better, but it's really not. Soaking one at a time, it lets them just constantly soak and heal without any issues, and it's technically they can soak your turrets out faster. It doesn't sound like it should be, but it really is how it works. If they're getting hit by 100 turrets at one time, they can only soak a few from each turret, and then they have to stop, or their dino will die, and they have to heal their dino and swap them out. Of course, if they have thousands of dinos, it doesn't matter, they'll just keep swapping them out, but it's better than letting them soak one at a time, because then they can just line up a bunch of different dinosaurs, soak several turrets at once, and just move through without ever getting hurt bad. Alright, so anyway, we'll move on, because it's about the cave, not about tactics. This is your next big real stop. You don't want to make it past this. You want to hold them here and push them back out of your cave. And you got a decent amount of room in here for building, crafting, and maybe certain types of breeding. Alright, so when you come in through the water entrance, if you were to take a right, there's a cool little cubby hole over here. And you go through there, and it's just this little hallway with some plants in it. So this is kind of a neat little area you can build in and do some stuff in here. And you could, since that's such a small entrance, you can really block it off with some turrets, and it'd be hard for players to get through it. Yeah, so you make your way back here, and it's just a hallway. Or you can put some stuff in here. You maybe hide some, maybe put a small teleporter and some loot and stuff in here. You wouldn't be able to breed much in here. Some small dinos. Maybe make some personal rooms or something in here. I don't know. Whatever you want to do is your imagination, right? It's up to you what you would put in this small little hallway. And then you could block it off with turrets. But of course, these turrets would count against your main turret in the other room. So you may not be able to put enough back here to really hold this well. Because you want to have like 100 turrets to keep them from coming through there. But that would be pretty hard for them to jump through. So you might be able to hold it with 50 turrets, but you really don't want to be taking turrets away from your main defense out here. So that'll definitely be something to check to make sure it's not. If it's not affecting your main defense, you can get all kinds of turrets back there and really hold that room. Alright, so this part of the cave is really cool. You got a nice little walkway up there, swinging back into another room, and just kind of this big circle pocket here in this cave, which you can do some cool stuff with. I believe one of our tribes I've played with had you go up this walkway here, and there was like a crafting vault area stored up here. Kind of hard to say. I've very rarely been in this cave when there's not structures in here. So the cave looks a little different, right, than when it's a base and you have foundations and ceilings everywhere than when it's just a natural cave. So I'm pretty sure this was an area we had a bunch of vaults and crafting stations put into. Alright, and then you can kind of look around. There's some places you can go. Then you come farther back in here. Now we got nameless spawning. Obviously, we don't have our light pet with us. Alright, you got a cool little swings back, and it ends in here. So you can do some neat stuff with this. It's not a huge amount of area, right? And of course, you need to watch nameless, because if too many spawn, a Reaper King will spawn. So you're going to keep these guys from spawning in your base. Once you may have to have a few turrets in your base set to wilds so to kill Reaper any nameless that accidentally spawn. The good news is the Reaper Kings now won't be able to break our electrical, because we can use the generators are now wireless. So before they were breaking our electrical cables through the foundations just by being in our base spinning. Alright, so then once we're back into the main chamber, so that was kind of a cool little area. This cave is really cool. Aberration is really nice. I don't know that this is improved that much over the visually over the ASE Aberration, but hey, it's still Aberration, still fun. Alright, and then the next place we go to go further back is back into the water. Yeah, I'll head back this direction. Alright, so we'll swim back through to the next area. Alright, we'll go back through, and this is another thing that makes this shadow cave so strong. Every time you get in one pocket of the cave, then you have to swim to get to the next pocket of the cave, and so it makes it hard to constantly bring, you have to bring the proper types of tames in here to really do well at raiding this base. So we'll come back up in here, and we have a nice large water area, so you can uncrowd and breed your water dinos and stuff in here. I think I said bassies earlier, but I'm not sure bassies are allowed on the map. There are only certain dinosaurs allowed on the map, but you can just breed a bunch of turtles in here. Which is another thing that makes this really strong, right? The limited dinosaurs. So we'll have to figure out if the dinosaur limitations are still the same as they were on ASE, or if they're new. Alright, so then this pops out into this back room here, where you can see the artifact glowing up there. So you'd want to have turrets firing down into there, and shooting them as they try to come up out of the water. It's kind of hard to say where you would place them for that. Let's see, based on distance. This wall here. This wall here would probably be pretty good for that. But as you can see, there's a bunch of LOS issues in here they could take advantage of. Alright, if you put them on that back wall there, as you can see, they could technically get out of the water and come over here and get some LOS going on. I'll let them do some stuff here, pop down a corral fridge. And this is kind of the last room, so you may not even want to bother with defenses stopping them from getting back here. If they've gotten past the previous room, you may just be wanting to bail on this cave. But yeah, so we'll come back in here. There's the shadow artifact here. And you can get some okay builds going on back in here. As you saw, there's only 2 really large chambers in this cave, though, for breeding and raising dinos. And the problem is one of them's right at the front where you'd be fighting. So the Shadow Cave has some limitations. All right, and then up here on the left, there's a little cliff. You can go over into this little room here. And there's another pocket here that's okay sized. You can probably do some stuff in here. You can build right over the water with your ceilings and get a decent amount of room in this little chamber here for breeding a few things. Nothing major. You can even use this as like a crafting or storage room. Now keep in mind, while this Shadow Cave is one of the strongest caves in the game for PvP purposes, it can also be one of the weakest in the game. Depending on how the meshing is going to be working on this aberration, in ASE, it was very easy to mesh this cave and come in through the outside of it and destroy bases. So if tribes were cheating that way, you would pretty much lose your base, which really sucks when that happens. So one way you can get around that is to know kind of the areas they're going to be meshing in at and having your internal turrets everywhere to keep them from being able to come through the mesh and destroying your base. And as far as the PvP base locations and ratings go, since this does have a lot of room for breeding, a lot of room for crafting, you can get teleporters in here, you can do all kinds of stuff with this, and it has several really good areas to defend against, and the number and the type of dinosaurs are limited that can even attack you. We're going to give this cave a 9 out of 10 rating. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.